Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is called Basic Economic Theory. We're going to talk about the impact of investment on human capital, productive, and natural resources. So the first thing we're going to talk about is investment. Investment is the use of money to make more money, another way to be more productive. So what can we invest in to make more money when we think about our dream businesses? Well, I want you to think about something that is not investment. You spent $10,000 on new furniture for your house. That's called consumption. You can't use it for anything. You've invested money in the furniture, but it's not going to make you more money, or you've spent the money, rather. You may have invested it, but it's not going to get you anything back. It's not going to make more money in any way. So anytime that money is spent and it can't make you new money or make you more money, it's going to be called consumption. Investment is a way in which it's going to make you more money. So you guys might be thinking of a couple of things right now, how to make more money. You might be thinking about putting money in a savings account. You might be thinking about putting it in the stock market like we have. And maybe you're thinking about profits from your business. So that's what we're going to look at today, is that investment. So if you spend $10,000 on lawn equipment to start a lawn maintenance service, this is an investment. If I spent that much money just on lawn care for my own lawn, then it's consumption because it won't be making me any money. But if I start to get paid to mow the lawns of my neighbors, now all of a sudden that equipment, I've started an investment. This is now money that I've spent that's going to make me more money. Investment is an important factor responsible for economic growth, and there are two ways that we can invest. We can invest directly, which is spending on capital goods like machinery and equipment, like in the example of the lawn equipment. You can also indirectly invest, and that's the savings or purchasing of stocks and bonds. When you put money in someone else's hands, it's indirect because you do not have control over it. In this situation, I have direct control over the investment of the capital, either the machinery, the equipment, maybe the training that I'm spending on my employees. But if it is indirect, then it's going into the hands of maybe even another company, or in the hands of the bank. So when I place my money in the stock market, or maybe I purchase property, I am taking a risk. And because there's more risk involved in that, I don't know how that business that I bought into, that I gambled on, is going to do. That is an indirect investment because I have a lack of control. Without economic growth, or economic growth rather, cannot occur without savings. So if people don't put their money into banks, then there's no money to be loaned out for businesses and their investment needs. When you put money into a bank, you're giving that bank a loan, and the bank is then able to use your money, borrow it, and lend it out to others. When people fail to pay back that money, that's how the bank makes their own money. All right, so output versus input. Remember that productivity is the amount of output created per unit of input. And our inputs are all of our factors of production, the four factors of production. So all the land, the entrepreneurship, the labor, and the capital are all, and time are all the inputs. The output is the product, the good or the service that is being produced. To earn profits, a business efficiently uses inputs to create their outputs. Inputs and outputs are relational. The product or the measure of this relationship is called productivity. And this is just a review. I think we talked about this in one of the first videos. So productivity. In economics, productivity is the amount of output created per unit of input. For example, in we talked about the undeveloped country or developing country, they're still manually working the farm. So a 1,000-acre farm, they have 100 people out there working by hand. In the United States, one farmer using one tractor could easily work a 1,000-acre farm. Assuming similar outputs on both farms, the U.S. is going to be 100 times more productive because they have limited the amount of input. Okay, they've invested in their capital of the tractor. That's a tool that can be used over and over, and it's just one farmer, whether that's the entrepreneur or one person of one unit of human labor. And let's assume that they are, like I said, producing the same amount. They have the same amount of output. The input is a lot cheaper over here for the farmer, especially in the long run, because maybe up front, after one season, that tractor, he might only break even after one season, or it may even take 2 seasons to break even for the cost of the tractor. But after that, there's relatively, once that tractor is paid for, then there's relatively no upfront cost. That's already been paid off, so there's no rent on the tractor once it's purchased, and now it's all profit for the farmer. So he's going to make a lot more money. So there's a law of diminishing return, which is a concept that we have to talk about. Is if one factor of production is increased while the others remain the same, then the overall returns to business will fall after a certain point. So we have an example to talk about that. And so another way to say it is that the return on additional investment will diminish. And this chart is a good way to think about it. We're going to consider the lawn care service. So I'm going to start a lawn care service, and at first it's just going to be myself and one employee, and we're going to have 2 lawn mowers. We also have a weed whacker and some clippers. Okay, those are the 4 tools, and we have 2 people. So at the beginning, we're able to work 2 lawns and take care of them, and we go back and forth. I use the lawnmower, uses the lawnmower, then we switch. I'll use the clippers and he'll use the weed whacker, and then we switch that usage, and within a couple of hours we're able to take care of 2 lawns. But then we see that the weekend is going to be pretty busy, so I hired 2 more employees so that they can be doing the weed whacking and the clipping at the same time that we're lawn mowing. So now we're going to do 4 lawns. Everybody's working. I'm going to mow a lawn while somebody else is clipping, the other guy is weed whacking, and my other guy is lawn mowing, and then we're just going to rotate around on the four lawns. And so that works out as I have increased my input by adding the human labor. I still have the same amount of capital, the same amount of tools. I'm going to reach the most productive point where we're all working for the most amount of time, covering the most amount of lawns. Then I decide, okay, well, that worked so well. Now I'm going to hire 2 more guys because we're going to be more busy next weekend. The problem is that I don't have any more tools. If I don't invest in the capital, now while all 4 of us are working, we're going to go back to the same position, but now there's going to be these 2 new hired guys who are just standing around watching. And so now they're not helping to get any more work done. So immediately my return is going to be lower. They can be there to help, and they can be there if somebody needs a break or rest, but without a tool, without a lawnmower or clippers, even gloves and a garbage bag to pick up the clippings, if I don't invest in that capital, then there's nothing for them to do, and now we're on the downward spiral. What's worse is that a couple hours later, the guys that are working are going to notice that there's somebody standing on the side, and he's just drinking iced tea all day. I mean, he's getting paid and he's not doing any work. So now all of a sudden the guy that is working starts to slow down, questions why he's working so hard, and I'm going to end up with very low returns. So the perfect situation was when all 4 people had a job and everybody was working hard. That was the point at which I should have stopped. Or if I'm going to increase human labor now at that point to keep this on an upward spiral, or on an upward trend, then I need to make sure that I increase also my capital, get tools for those people. Okay, that's it for this video. Make sure that you take your vocab notes, fill out your vocabulary, and also have your notes in your shared folder.